Also, you have to, well, I recommend that you challenge me to 5-minute games if you're slightly lower rated so that we have more, or rather, I have more time to try and instruct and discuss the game. And apart from that, rated, let's play 3 minutes to make it more exciting sporting contest. Okay, so we have Yusuf 4646 from Turkey. Once again, I think a lot of Turkish players here challenging. Just obviously nice to see the interest there. And we have a pretty sharp knight or bishop d3. I guess is a bit unusual. Um, doesn't look like a bad move though. Okay, let me go e6. Um, the only question is really whether the moves um, bishop d3 and okay, I'll go b5 as a matter of fact. e5 a4 though, that should be fine. Whether bishop d3 and bishop g5 fit, because one of the moves, bishop d3, really hints at an aggressive setup with later f4, and bishop d3 is more usually in connection with castles and all of that. So now, with f3 as well. I've played somewhat similar setups with white, so I wouldn't say it's bad at all, but it's obviously not the most challenging in the sense that I can now develop quite freely, especially with short castle, which is something I generally wouldn't really recommend here. Because there isn't too much pressure on my position, and with short castle, that also means that there won't be any attacking option, which means that black is fine. Seeing as structurally black is doing fine, white usually needs to attack in order to justify his play. So with all that talk, let's go 95. It seems very reasonable. Putting the knight on a good central square. I think f4 is never really a good idea in connection with kingside castling. So he goes bishop f1 instead, which seems very sensible. Queen b6 now is played just in order to provoke bishop e3. Then I'll go queen c7. I'll claim that it's a slight achievement for me that the bishop is a little less active on e3 than it would have been on g5. Don't know if that's anything real though. Knight b3. Don't really know what that's all about. Usually in the Sicilian, if you can play d5 with impunity, you should do it. So I'll try and see if it works out well here. There are some tricks though. For instance, my intention was here after a lot of trades in the center, let's say knight d5, bishop d5, bishop f4. The idea was to go queen takes c2 because the knight on b3 will be hanging. What I did miss though is queen takes c2, rook takes c2, and then knight to d4. And this, as far as I can see, leads me to lose a piece. So I have to find something else. But fortunately, bishop d6 seems quite sufficient. And it also introduces a pretty big threat, which is to go knight takes f3, which he incidentally missed. knight takes f3 and then bishop takes f4. And this will not only net me a pawn, but it will also net me a very, very strong pair of bishops. And this should mean that his position is kind of collapsing. I don't see any reason not to take another pawn. And obviously now 2 pawns up with all the positional trumps. Should be winning. Yeah, b4. Let's just take it easy. Double the rooks. It's never hurt anyone. And it's really hard to find good advice there for white. I can take another pawn, bishop f3. Yeah, I guess I'll do it. I don't love it, but if I start teaching people not to take completely free pawns, then I'm doing something wrong. And this, after all, is supposed to be educational. Okay, rook d4. Yeah, g5 looks too natural not to be played, fortifying that bishop on a nice outpost where it cannot be attacked by any white pawns. And rook d1 is another blunder because of bishop e3. I think I will just go rook c2 as a matter of fact. Could have taken the rook, then rook c1, followed by rook a1, meaning I'll be a full rook up, but I think this is a faster way to the goal. Yeah, rook d3, but that doesn't prevent the main threat, which is rook h2 and mate. Okay, he resigned in time. Okay, not a bad game at all by my opponent. He was just playing a little too passively there and allowing me to build up the pressure. Okay,